Emmanuel Daniel is president of the Asian Banker. That's an industry consultancy, and joins us now from Singapore. Emmanuel Daniel, a very good morning to you. We're expecting then a rise in first quarter profits. Just what's going to be key to you when you look at those results?
The two things that appear to be missing in the full story is the rise in fee-based income. I think a lot of the analysis on HSBC right now, as of this morning, talks a lot about the reduction in net interest margins, the divestment of the non-core assets, and so on. The two things that I'd put my finger on, what's HSBC doing on the fee-based side of the business, and the second thing I'd put my finger on is how exactly its cost-to-income ratio has pared in response to all the measures that it's putting in place. Now, these two would give me an idea of the growth side of their story. The conservation part of the story is, I think, already well told in the last 2 quarters.
What about its business then in emerging markets in Asia? To what extent is HSBC perhaps better placed than some of its rivals to take advantage of that growing market when many European banks are actually scaling back from their key markets?
Well, two things that that we need to focus on that part of the story is that, firstly, what HSBC is essentially doing is going back to its knittings, both in the emerging markets as well as in the developed markets. It's saying to itself that we'll keep our core UK, Hong Kong, Europe business intact, although cutting a lot of cost on that front. But at the same time, it's also been divesting or slowing down on a number of emerging markets. That includes Korea, India. It's not looking on the upside for India for the moment. It's over-investing in China. I think that they're planning to increase their branch network from 200 to about 800, something of that magnitude, which means that they are putting more of their eggs into the baskets they already know. What that says to me is that they are very dependent on their core markets at the moment. There are markets in Asia which have an upside potential if the economies pick up, India and Korea specifically, but they've decided not to play in those markets. So HSBC is really hunkering down to its real core business, which is selected, developed and emerging markets. And that's different from Stanchart, which is really hunkered down to emerging markets mostly, and actually a lot of higher risk and therefore higher income emerging market potential. So in terms of the ongoing potential to benefit from Asia, Asia also has its potential downside story in the next 3 quarters at least. China is probably a slowing down market and so on. Well, so the cost of that side of the business might come on.
Emmanuel, sorry to interrupt you. We don't have a great deal of time. It's interesting that you were talking about China, that may be a risky side of things. It's slowing down, yes, but it's still growing. You say HSBC is over-investing in China, but when you see the results of something like the China's Bank of Communications, part-owned, of course, by HSBC, really surprised on the upside as far as their results are concerned. Surely, longer-term prospects, China's looking a really great place for HSBC to be concentrating in.
Well, HSBC is the furthest into the Chinese market for all of the foreign banks, so they are really into a lot of unknown territory at the moment. For a foreign bank to scale up its branch networks, in addition to being an investor in Bank of Communications, as you pointed out, is a very high risk into the unknown for the moment. Because as you remember, the Chinese regulators themselves have said they want to see some changes even among the big Chinese banks, powering down the big 4 banks, for example. They have to deal with the growth of the trust companies, the off-balance sheet business, and so on. And so HSBC will be impacted by any policy decisions made in China in the next 3 quarters. They are going further than almost every other foreign bank in China today.
Emmanuel Daniel, president of the Asian Banker. We're grateful to you. Thanks for joining us live from Singapore.